It seems as though we hear about a new product recall every week, but how are we dealing with them as consumers? Earlier, our Ryan Owen spoke with Patricia Martin, president of marketing services firm Lit Lamp Communications.
Patricia, the list of recalls just recently is longer than my arm. It's very difficult to keep track of all of these. How are consumers reacting?
Well, I think first thing you need to understand, Ryan, is that what's happening in the marketplace with consumers right now is a deeper shift. What we're seeing is these consumers who are really sort of facilitated by the internet, they're smarter, they're creative, they're eco-friendly, and they're eager to understand exactly what's happening with these recalls. So companies can't run and hide as they might have in, days before the internet. Now what these consumers are doing is they are beginning to look for information and make very particular purchases over things from toothpaste to towels. So this is a consumer that's going to very carefully consider every purchase.
So consumers are far better educated, you would argue. So how is that making a difference this time than perhaps recalls we saw 10, 20 years ago?
Well, what you're seeing is with this consumer, they're coming out of what we call the Gen, the Renaissance generation. A couple of things will be true. Number one, they're big recyclers. So they're doing things like, for toys, for instance, they're looking for quality American-made toys for their children, and they're buying them secondhand. The other thing they're doing is they're buying at craft fairs, farmers markets. This whole purchase local thing is a very big deal. In a recent consumer trial, because these consumers are so visually oriented, in a recent consumer trial for a market test for a new juice, they rejected the brick aseptic packages because that was a visual signal that that juice was made in China.
Very interesting. Okay, so if you're a company, if you run a company, knowing that these consumers are better educated and have more options, how do you respond? You already said you can't run and hide anymore, that's for sure.
Well, it's kind of a great opportunity to build your brand. Number one, you can use the internet to tell your brand story. Talk about the origin of your product, how much care goes into producing it. You can also use your packaging. There will be a renaissance in packaging design. And the other thing that's important to understand is America has been very good, very sophisticated in its graphic designs, its logos, and those signal to this Gen consumer that this is made in America.
Okay, consumer expert Patricia Martin, thanks for being here this morning.
My pleasure.